Hello everyone, welcome to my Midlife Capers. I'm Kara and I'm going to share with you today a recipe that I love to make. I found it on the Keto Mojo website and it's a great go-to for snack food if you want something salty crunchy, but it's also a very utilitarian because I can't have bread or regular crackers and lots of other things that are good delivery devices for other things. So I've used this for tuna salad. I've made an avocado toast with it, and so it's just a really good piece of my arsenal for being able to function with the limitations I have. So we're going to get into it. I've already measured everything out just to make things easier. The first thing, and I'm going to tilt the camera down here for the rest of the whole situation. So I have in this bowl half a cup of pumpkin seeds. And now the recipe on the website has it in tablespoons, but measuring out 6 tablespoons is just kind of a pain. So I figured out what it was in cups. And so it's half a cup of pumpkin seeds, half a cup of sunflower seeds, and these are raw, both of them. And then a third of a cup of golden flaxseed. Now I didn't have golden flaxseed, I had the darker one, but it really doesn't matter at this point. And so that's one of the first things. And then the next thing I have in this bowl are some smaller seeds. I have 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. The recipe doesn't call for that, but I like them. They add good fiber and are good for binding because when they swell, they do hold things together. And then I have 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds. You can use white or black, whatever you prefer. White is just what I have on hand because I use it in other Asian cooking and things like that, and I don't really keep black sesame seeds around. And then I have 2 tablespoons of hemp hearts, and again I modified the recipe here because I really love the nutty flavor of hemp hearts, and they're also a great source of protein, so I doubled up on that, and it's not going to hurt anything in the recipe. And then the other ingredients that go into this that serve as kind of the binder: 2 tablespoons of almond flour, fine ground, and then 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed meal. And again, it called for the golden, but I happen to have a combination of the dark and the golden. It's not going to make a difference. And then the last thing is 2 teaspoons. Now you have to be careful because most of this stuff has been in tablespoons. 2 teaspoons of psyllium husk. You don't want to go overboard on that because it does have an impact on your digestive system that can be unpleasant if you have too much. So anyway, I'm going to add all of these together. And then it calls for some sea salt. Now I put about a teaspoon into the mix, and then I also dust it on the top of the cracker when it's after, well actually I add some while it's baking and then just a little bit again as a finishing salt. And then the next thing is 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. If you're going to use the kind that can solidify when it's not heated, then obviously you just need to heat that up before. This came from a bottle where it was already liquefied, so I'm just put that in there. So then the last thing is to add 3/4 of a cup of boiling water. Now I just heated mine up in my coffee maker, and it's really convenient that way, and I'm saving on the amount of propane I use. And so I'll add this in. Now, the recipe does not make this really clear, and it's a really important part of the puzzle. You have to let this soak for I would say 3 or 4 minutes at least, because the hot water is going to cause the psyllium husk and the flaxseed meal to swell, and then with the chia seeds in there, you are going to get even more of that. That's going to help bind this stuff together, since there's no egg or any other kind of binding agent. That is what keeps them from crumbling apart. And the first time I tried to do this, I did not pick up on that, and they still cooked okay. It just took probably twice as long for the moisture to cook off and for them to actually finish. You don't have to keep stirring this while you're waiting for it to absorb the liquid. I'm just making sure that everything is good and incorporated, because I didn't stir it before I added the water. I had a friend tell me, or insist for years, that I should do a cooking show, and I always told him, no, this is not something that I would ever want to do, because I get so focused on what I'm trying to pull off in the kitchen that the idea of having to talk through it is just too much to me. And I'm actually proving myself right on this, because I'm getting distracted and I don't really know what to say next. But anyway, this is almost how you want it to look. You want it to look like a ball that is kind of sticking together. And so the next thing, I have little pans that fit perfectly into my small toaster oven. I got them on Amazon and they're wonderful, because the pan that came in the toaster oven has a lip to it that doesn't allow the things to cook flat, and so it doesn't work well for something like this. But I basically will split this in half and put half of it in one tray and half of it in the other tray, and then I will level them out. So they cook evenly, obviously. And these do, I could probably split it into thirds to make it work a little bit better as far as the thickness goes. These do end up being a little bit thicker than what the recipe calls for, and maybe even a little bit thicker than what I like. It does take a little bit longer for them to make sure that they're cooked all the way through to where they're really going to hold together. And I mean, they would be fine. You're not actually having to cook anything, but they just taste so much better when they are nice and crispy, and they do more of what you want a cracker to do that way. So anyway, this is the first one. It'll go in the toaster oven. The instructions say it's 300 degrees, and you want to put them in there for about 30 minutes the first time, and then you take them out, flip them over. They suggest cutting them at that point. I like to break them so that you've got kind of like a rough edge to it. So I don't usually do that. And I just flip it and then put it back in the oven for an additional 20 to 25 minutes to make sure it's good and done on both sides. And then I just break them off. And but that's just my personal preference. So I'm going to get these in the oven, let them do their thing, and I'll check back in with you and give you a look at the finished product of this really great keto-friendly cracker. Okay, so while I am waiting for those crackers to finish, I figured I'd throw together a quick little tuna salad just to be able to have with them. This is going to be a very no frills. I'm not chopping up veggies to put in it or anything like that. I'm just taking a can of tuna, and Munch just heard the magic words and is probably going to be coming over here sniffing and things. Yep, here he comes. Then I have some avocado oil mayo that I will add to this. A little pinch of salt. And then I have this really great kit with vials of herbs and spices. And so what I'm going to do is put some of that stuff in there so that it's not just tuna out of a can with nothing in it. And what I have got is some dill, and I'll probably put about a teaspoon. I learned from Justin Wilson, the Cajun chef, when I was watching him as a kid, that in the small of your hand is just about equal to a teaspoon. And let me see if I can find my teaspoon here so I can prove that to you, because that's how he did it on TV. I was so impressed by this. And now my hands are smaller than his, so it's a little bit more, but you can see it's pretty close to a teaspoon. So I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm going to put some parsley, just for a little extra flecks of green. Because, you know, parsley doesn't have much flavor, especially the dried stuff, but it kind of adds a neutralizing flavor to me that I enjoy. And then I'm going to throw in a little bit of garlic powder, little bit of onion powder. So the last thing I added was ground mustard to the tuna, and I'll put a link to these in the description below, because they are really cool because they don't come pre-filled, so you can put whatever spices and herbs you like to use on a regular basis, and it makes them really handy for travel and like for camping. This can hang on a tree or something and be really accessible for all of your spices. Now the crackers finished while I was doing that, and this is how they look. I'll also put a link in the description for these pans in case you have one of those smaller toaster ovens like this, and they are ready to go. So I am going to go take this and eat, and I'll see you later. Bye.